Welcome back to Skippers, presented by Owners Box Fantasy Sport. Today's segment, must-add players. Full week of baseball games. We're going to give you 4 guys we think you must add on your fantasy baseball teams. First off, Jer, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again.
We are back. I'm excited to get some content out. Obviously, start of the season is always exciting, and we've been kind of going at a slower pace to start the season, but we do plan on ramping it up. A couple streamer episode. Make sure you subscribe so that you get updated when we release a new video, because we'll kind of be a little spotty, but we'll be releasing a lot of content.
Absolutely. So, Jerry, you want to get into your guy first?
Yeah. So I'm going to start off. This is a guy I've been adding. I told Avery when Donaldson first got hurt, sort of that I was adding this guy, and that's Luis Arraez of the Twins. He's going to be taking. Donaldson. There's always question marks around Donaldson, and I think 2 games into the year he's out now. I think he's been battling. I think it's a hamstring injury, or the calf always seems to come back. But I think he just can't be trusted. And Arraez is going to come in, great eligibility all around the field. I think second base eligibility is kind of the main thing I was looking at. But you look at his stats, he's only 32% rostered, so he could still be out there in your leagues. But he's been looking good, and this guy's been striving on a low K percentage. And right now he's at 22. Obviously, it's high for him, but it's also obviously really early. So I expect him to have a low K percentage. He's hitting 350, 389 right now. He's hitting in the 1 spot. I see him almost having it with Donaldson out. He's going to have an everyday role, but in general, this guy's going to be all over the field. They need a third baseman. They need an outfielder. He's going to play there. So I really do like this pickup as a utility guy.
Yeah, I think he's an elite contact guy. If he leads the majors in a batting average at the end of the year, if he's eligible, I'm not going to be surprised at all. So I think that's a good pick, Jer. Going to my guy. This guy's scorching hot, and that's Nate Lowe of the Texas Rangers. Finally out of Tampa. We finally get to see him play every day. When people were drafting, the one thing that kind of scared them off was they weren't sure his playing time. They weren't sure if he was going to get first base out of camp, but that's been put to rest right away. Through his first 5 games, Lowe's hitting 381, 1266 OPS, along with 3 home runs and 14 RBIs. That's incredible pace right there. Obviously, you're not going to keep it up, but he played the Royals and the Jays. So pretty good options to put him in against those teams. But you look into it more, and you see his StatCast numbers are absolutely off the charts. Past couple of years, he's been top 6 percentile in hardest exit velocities. So that's not really new, but 92nd percentile or above in average exit velo, max exit velo, and barrel percentage already this year. Finally turning into the player we kind of thought he was before they let the reins loose here in Texas. But I think he's a must-add, and he's only 50% rostered. So if you're in those leagues, this is a guy that you need for the next couple of weeks. He's scorching hot.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that he played the Royals and then he played the Jays, but he also, he had his 2 home run day against Rourke, who's obviously not very good. It'll be interesting how he performs against better pitching. Obviously, that's going to come for the Rangers. With that lineup, that's pretty loaded in size. You got Gallo and you got Guzman, who that guy's like 6'5", absolute beast. But it'll be interesting. But definitely, he's scorching hot right now. That whole kind of Rangers lineup has been hitting a lot of bombs and getting a lot of ribbies. So it's good to see that he's getting an everyday role there.
Yeah. So your second guy, Jer?
So I'm going a little higher percentage here, but starting pitchers can really fluctuate. People dropping pitchers because of a bad start. That's Matthew Boyd at 54% rostered on the Tigers, coming from the Jays. I believe it was 3 years ago. I remember he played for the Jays. But he is a guy who had a terrible season last year. He had a pretty good 2019 year, gets a lot of strikeouts. He's starting off really well. Pitched against Cleveland in his first start, pitched 5.2 innings. And then just recently, yesterday or today, I believe it was based on our filming, but 7 innings pitch against it. This is the matchup I was waiting for, and I wanted to see if he's going to perform against a good Twins lineup. And he had 7 innings pitched, only 300 runs and 8 Ks. His stuff looked good. He's got that nice changeup. He doesn't throw very hard, but he's very effective. So I'm going to go Matthew Boyd as a must-add.
Yeah, this is another fantasy thing that people kind of stay away from. Good players on bad teams. He kind of revamped his pitch mix, went to that slider a couple years ago, and it's helped him out a ton. Big swing and miss guy draft on owner's box all the time if I'm looking for things like that. So good pick on Matthew Boyd. I'll get into my second guy, and that is Jonathan India of the Cincinnati Reds. top 5 pick out of Florida in 2018. But I think he was kind of hurt a little bit by some prospect fatigue. Obviously, if you talk about these guys enough, you're going to kind of forget them and not see what they're worth. But when he made the Reds out of camp and Eugenio Suarez, their shortstop, who was a terrible defensive shortstop earlier in the year, you had to know like the Reds management knew something that we didn't really know about Jonathan India this year. So through 5 games, he's hitting 474, 1100 OPS, 7 RBIs. Second base is such a thin position in fantasy baseball. So a guy doing that, good batted ball skills in a lineup where RBIs are plentiful right now. Like the Reds can't be stopped right now. It's just incredible. Obviously, they're not playing great teams, but they seem like in the lineup he's going to get a lot of damage done. So makes it a no-brainer ad for me when you need a second baseman. He's in the 85th percentile on sprint speed as well. So Jonathan India is going to get you steals at some point. Hasn't run into any yet, but I just think if the lineup's hitting so well, why would you run into outs anywhere? He's only rostered in 40% of leagues. He's a rookie. I think that is a guy you need to be looking to pick up in your leagues.
Yeah, I think there was a couple. I guess there was a decent amount of talk before the season about how this guy could potentially come in and fill a role for the Reds, but it seems like everyone on the Reds is doing more than expected right now. We talk about a couple players, but he's interesting. Like you said, though, the speed is intriguing and the second base eligibility is always intriguing. So he's definitely someone that keep an eye on and pick him up on your roster.
2 other guys I'm looking at right now, obviously Ryan McMahon. If he's going to get some more playing time, he's going to be able to hit those amount of home runs in Coors Field. Why not take a waiver on him? And then Carlos Rodon of the Chicago White Sox.
Love
any
that
more
pick.
notes from you, Jer?
I would probably say I was going to put Matz in there. Obviously, Boyd was kind of not a safety pick, but higher percentage owned that I wanted people to get if he was available. But Matz looked really good for the Jays, getting up to 95, lefty. Definitely look for him on your waiver wires.
Yeah, let us know what type of percentage you want of guys owned. Like we do deep sleepers sometimes. It depends on what league you're on. We don't know what type of all fantasy players we're in. Like some 10-team leagues, you're going to have a chance on all these guys probably. Yeah. And then some deeper leagues, you might not have a chance on any of them. So let us know what your team is, what percentage of guys owned that you want us to pick. Nothing else from me, nothing else from Jer. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.